YouTube, what is up? We are carrying on. Carrying on? Well, we're watching the second part of the study lock video because I back channel. We are going to be finishing up this part. We're watching the second video of the whole retcon thing to see and to kind of see where we are now. Fuck. Not even the video apparently.
All the retcons in classic Dragon Ball and...
So he did... He's about to tell us and we just cut it off there. He did Z and from what I think classic and Z, which fucking classic were you?
This week, I am retconning...
Fuck, that is loud. Sorry chat, I just want to drop that slide.
that list and expanding into the retcons of modern Dragon Ball. The list in this newer video that you are watching right now is the canon for Totally Not Mark moving forward. Do not question me, and so the following are not retcons. Number 1, Goku's tail. Number 2, Bulma's knowledge of the Dragon Balls. Number 11, Kintu-Un's death. Number 14, radio waves. That one I just got wrong.
I'm so confused. Is this now him retconning his retcons? Is that where we are now, and is that the world we live in now?
So, yeah, let's go with that. Number 19, Baba's powers. Number 23, the Dragon Balls have a creator. And many, many more. These are my retcons to the Totally Not Mark canon. The last video does not exist anymore, and you can forget what I said that time.
Okay, cool. So he retconned his retcons, and now we get to pretend like the last time those don't happen. I forgive him. Still greatest code ever known. They're not greatest, but like pretty up there. Pretty. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. The amount of his shit I enjoy, yes, he is. He's fucking summaries of DBZ GT, still some of the greatest fucking content ever made.
Alright, so you see what I'm doing here? That sucks, right? That is a bold-faced contradiction, and that is a terrible retcon. It's frustrating. And look, I'll hold my hand up. In my haste to try and find as many retcons as I could, I brought in my reach too far, and now I need to contradict the Totally Not Mark. I mean, what I meant to say was that I actually planned this video all along as a galaxy brain play to do some meta commentary by retconning my own video.
Man broke the fucking 63rd wall. I want to say first wall, but at this point he's way past the meta. Played us.
Yeah, that'll do. There are obviously plenty of very overt retcons and contradictions in the Dragon Ball canon proper. The Dragon Balls can grant any wish? No, they can't. Vegeta signed up for the Tenkaichi Budokai to fight Gohan. No, he didn't. Trunks says that androids 19 and 20 destroyed his timeline. Trunks, why would you lie to us like that? I thought we were tight. No.
Well, in fairness, I don't know where I was even going with that. I was going to make some joke about Trunks, but nah, don't really hate Trunks. Okay character.
No, not
That's going to offend some fucking people. I should not have said he was only an okay character.
that tights. That one is even more complicated, and I don't want to get... This video's already giving me a headache. Okay, so the truth is, retcons that explicitly contradict what was said before can make us angry, confused, and more than anything, they can stick in our minds. It is often said that a viewer won't remember what you said, but they will recall how you made them feel.
I think that is a very risky fucking take when it comes to Dragon Ball. To like the fucking Dragon Ball world. The amount of times people have rewatched that, including myself, well, I've rewatched the series, gone through the series for the fine-tooth comb and argued every fucking little point about it. Not myself that time. I don't know so much if people won't remember. Don't know if Akira Toriyama remembers what the fuck he wrote half the time, but that's a different story.
And due to this, we remember the retcons that made us confused or angry, and the rest just fade away into the background. And
They're going to bring up Patara not just being shit.
fittingly, in addition to many of you correctly pointing out the elements from last week's list that weren't retcons, there was a surprisingly large contingent that argued against retcons that I thought were basically inarguable. And now, after doing some digging...
In fairness, he 100% knew he was going to have that issue of every single person was going to disagree with every single thing he said, no matter how correct or how incorrect he was, because people be people. And the internet be the internet. And people feel strong behind a keyboard.
I think I know why. It turns out, first and foremost, that retcons themselves are very tricky literary devices to even discuss. So much so that actual literary scholars to this day debate their definition and application. So today, we are going to do what the
What do you mean? Surely retcon has like a standard definition. Okay, I studied literature. I'm pretty sure what may or may not be a retcon could be disputed, but how is what the fact a retcon is disputed? Surely that's just like a fucking objective take of this is what it is.
Call literary scholars couldn't and tried to figure out what retcons were actually in Dragon Ball. And from there, march into the retcon-riddled Wild West of modern Dragon Ball to find out...
Oh yeah, this is gonna be a fucking free-for-all where just shit doesn't make sense and stuff is just purely for story. Looking at you, Potara.
Once and for all, just how many
This will be the second retcon on the Potaras, actually, now that I say that. Because the first time it didn't work in Boo either.
retcons there actually are overall. Oh god, I can feel the migraine already. Hit the music.
I would actually hate to be the person that has to deal with his comments. I don't know if he deals with his comments himself personally, or if he has a team that kind of handles it and then addresses stuff in terms of what they need to answer, or if he manages like his actual YouTube comments himself. He's a rather large creator with massive following, and dealing with the contents he does, I don't know if he would, for the sanity of his own sake, or sake of his own sanity, I should say, actually deal with his comment section. But holy shit, I would not want to be him having to deal with that comment section. Every single motherfucker complaining you were wrong and spamming you. They're going to bring up the whole Super Saiyan tingly back thing. Please bring up Super Saiyan tingly back thing.
Alrighty, so as I said, before we get to all those juicy modern Dragon Ball...
And I'm also going to bring up the fucking, like... I don't even know what the right word is, but how they've just decided Beerus is one level of power, then another level of power, then another level of power, and then he's just always stronger than he needs to be, or always stronger than he was, like, perceived to be. I get Super Saiyan God, oh no, he's not the strongest, whatever, whatever, whatever. He was going at like 80%, and all of a sudden at Super Saiyan Blue, still nowhere near. Then all of a sudden now at fucking Ultra Instinct, still implied that he's nowhere near. But yeah, anyway. Nowhere near being... Goku's nowhere near his power level.
All retcons, we're going to have to take a step back, reassess exactly what a retcon even is, and, well, radically adjust our previous list. So, for that to begin, I want to establish two things. Number one, lots of my retcons in the old video are just flat out not retcons. And number two, most people's understanding of what a retcon actually isn't quite complete, including my own. The second point here is actually a big part of why I included a section reading the dictionary definition of retcons in the first place. When
fucking Merriam-Webster fucked up.
people think of retcons, they almost exclusively think of changes that contradict something previous in the story, which are retcons, but not all retcons are contradictions. If we throw the definition back up on screen for a sec, I can pretty easily highlight...
I don't know if he's going to read it, so we're just going to read it. A piece of new information within a fictional work that imposes a different interpretation on previously described events, typically used to facilitate a dramatic plot shift or account for an inconsistency. I'm assuming it was highlights and impose a different interpretation of previously described events.
my error because it's right here. I focused hard on the imposes bit and failed to properly consider the previously described events part. In order for something to be a retcon, it doesn't necessarily have to outright contradict what came before. It can be supplementary or additive, but whatever it's adding, supplementing, or contradicting, it needs to do so to something already established by the narrative. And so, with all that understood, let's retcon my previous list real quick. So first up, we have a batch of these that, well,
Jesus, okay.
Playing wrong. Okay, yeah, chemist or physicist or whatever you are. I hear you, radio waves are not distinct to electromagnetic waves. They are simply a subset. I just misread Google, that's on me. But even beyond that, you have other outright wrong things like Bulma not knowing the Dragon Balls fly away, even though she absolutely does, and Boo's origin being changed from time immemorial to being created by Bibidi. I just had that last one backwards. And more than that, the time immemorial thing came from a random interview, no less. And if we throw all those retcons away, we instantly lose this many off the list. Okay, okay, so let's get
that's not that many in fairness.
And so this next section I'm calling...
That's like shame. There's like, what was that, 4 or 5?
A retcon, whether contradictory or just adding new information, needs to be affecting a piece of story information that was previously established. When you have new information that isn't affecting something previously established, that is just a reveal, or a revelation, or an evolution. Look, it could be many things, but it's not necessarily a retcon. This, unfortunately, is by far the biggest group of mistakes I made in the last video. You can only stay in the hyperbolic time chamber for 48 hours? Well, that is new information to us, but it also doesn't affect anything previously established. It's just a reveal. Demon King Piccolo can clone himself via an egg? Well, yeah, sure, we didn't know that before, but he's a magic demon guy, and the
I love how I keep saying Demon Piccolo, but in the subtitles it's Daddy Piccolo.
Trumps all. And don't even get me started on this one. But ultimately, I just got too caught up on the idea that any new information about something already existing is retroactive continuity. And as a result, we crossed these guys out.
Oh, fuck. Okay, I'll take it
lastly,
back.
we have the trickiest of my mistakes, and well, they're not actually so much mistakes as they are debatable. And you guys can debate these too in the comments if you want. I'm sure you will. To explain this, let's look at
Definitely
number
people
47.
will.
So what I said here is true. The entirety of the Saiyan arc, Vegeta does not once refer to himself as a prince or royalty or anything of the sort. The only way he describes himself is specifically as an elite Saiyan warrior, a top class and so on. Then, an arc later, it comes to light that Vegeta is in fact the Prince of the Saiyans, and that quickly becomes a staple of his character. By even the correct definition, this is a retcon. It is a piece of new information that imposes a different interpretation on previously described events or information. However, someone could absolutely make the argument that just because Vegeta never once said he was a prince, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a retcon. This just goes back to the
I don't know. Okay, so I kind of agree with the fact that it would be a retcon or something they then added to supplement facts already known. Because based on Vegeta's character, how he carries himself throughout fucking every single arc, every single fight, every single fucking thing, he brings up he's the Prince of all Saiyans consistently. It is like the only constant in his character arc. Fucking Prince of all Saiyans, Prince of Saiyans, blah 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 blah. He brings it up, I think, in half his speeches, half his fight scenes, half his dramatic, like I'm gonna die now and give my life up, or I'm gonna risk everything kind of scenes, are all about Prince of all Saiyans. I feel like he would have brought that up in a fight with Goku, where he wants to like kind of domineer the fact that, oh, I am the Prince of all Saiyans, I am your prince, I will beat you, kind of thing. It would have fit so perfectly into his character for him to have brought it up during their fight. That I feel like it must have been something that was thought of after the fact. Otherwise, it would have been brought up during that fight at least once, if not 36 different times, because what are we talking about?
Previous idea that most people think of retcons as purely contradictory, but however, as I've now established, some
I don't think it doesn't have to be contradictory, but it can be like a change in what we know. Viewers, readers, whatever the fuck. We thought he was just an elite Saiyan warrior. It turns out he's actually a prince. That was a contradiction in terms of what we thought we knew about him.
Sometimes retcons just expand or tweak the context of old information rather than outright changing or contradicting it. And
Okay, I just explained what I was about to say.
this would be one of those times. Or at least it could be. I mean, it really depends on who you ask. Now, I think the best way to compare and contrast this is to look at two key pieces of info in the Saiyan saga. Goku being a Saiyan and Piccolo being a Namekian. They both sound very similar, but only one of these is for sure a retcon. For Piccolo, it was originally stated by himself and everyone else to be a demon. That is his nature. It was a...
That I feel like might be true. Okay, Goku I don't think was ever brought up that clearly he wasn't human. He had a fucking tail in Dragon Ball. So I don't think it was ever a case of he was human. Or perceived to be what we perceive as humans, however the fuck you want to phrase that without offending people. But I guess the whole Demon King Piccolo thing is something to take from that. I don't know if it... With the Piccolo thing, it could be a demon, not just necessarily in terms of like a race or fucking, I don't know what demons are, ethnicity, whatever the fuck you want to call them. And more about his character. He's a demon because he wants to take over the world, because he wants to kill people. He's a demon in terms of his actions, not in terms of his like race or ethnicity, whatever.
established as a fact. Then the Saiyan arc comes around and says,
Like, I think it wasn't that deep, and I'm making it a lot deeper. And I think it was a case of, oh, he's a demon, and then he's not a demon. He's an Namekian. But like, they could be taken in that way, I suppose, as well, where it's a case of describing his actions, not his race.
well, actually, he's not
Race? I don't know if race is the right word, but whatever, you guys know what I mean.
a demon. He's an alien race known as Namekian. That is a change or contradiction to something that was explicitly established by the narrative. That is, of course, before Daima, but okay, I'll get onto that later.
Also, in fairness, wasn't he also... Okay, Daima I haven't watched yet, so that is, I guess, on me that I'm about to make this, but... He was, in theory, the evil split from Kami. When they split and he was the evil half of Kami, and Kami was God, so it would make him a demon, in theory. Like, in terms of biblical terms of opposites, where the good is, the good is a god or an angel, whatever the fuck, and the bad is like the evil. I guess it could also have come from that and not necessarily just been a straight up race thing. Like, you know, the whole god devil thing. I don't know.
Okay, so now let's compare that
But I also do think I'm way overthinking that.
with Goku's Saiyan reveal. There are many times in original Dragon Ball where Goku's true nature is speculated or alluded to, but it is never outright established as a fact. And as a result, whether Goku
It's like what I brought up about Goku. Clearly we know he's not fucking human. Man turns into a fucking monkey, has a tail. So we know he's not human. Or at least it's plausible he isn't human or isn't purely a human. Kind of thing. We don't really know what he is, and then it's revealed that he's a Saiyan. So I don't think that's a retcon, because it was never necessarily established he was human either. I mean, last time I checked, I can't turn into a fucking monkey or grow a tail.
Goku's alien origin
I mean, or shoot laser beams from my hands, but I mean, I've tried. One day I'll learn.
is a retcon depends entirely on how you interpret the story. If you personally read Dragon Ball and concluded from all of those comments that Goku was factually assumed to be an Earthling before, just with a weird tail, then yeah, it is a retcon. But if you assume that his true nature was never actually established, rather left vague to be filled in later, then, well, surprise, it's not a retcon for you. And so, with all of this in mind,
I have a lot of questions about people that just assumed he's like a pure Earthling human that isn't got like weird shit going on. He literally turns into a fucking great ape. At what point you're like, yeah, no, that's fine. Excuse me? Even if it's a whole take on the whole werewolf bullshit, which it kind of is, yes. If you're a fucking werewolf, you're not just a like straight up human. You were once, not currently.
we have a final category that I will call nebulous retcons that stay on this list but with highlights or asterisks. Okay, and with that we have retconned our list from a whopping 77 elements all the way down to a measly, smaller, but still impressive 38. If nothing else, I think you can see that the original point I made in the video still stands. Toriyama's writing style is chaotic and freeform.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, obviously, yes, he wants to make the best story he can, but I also think, like, Toriyama just kind of flies by the seat of his pants and, like, this makes sense for the story and I want this to happen, so that's what happens, and just fuck everything else. Or knowing Toriyama and the whole drama of he just forgot Launch was a character. He probably just forgot what the fuck he wrote all those years ago.
And as a result, these were nightmares to iron out. But hey, in reviewing these, I actually found 2 more retcons to add to the list, making the total for original Dragon Ball 40 retcons. Okay, and one final thing. I can already see people commenting and typing up replies about how a few of these remaining ones aren't retcons, like this one with Goku never seeing another human. Okay, yeah, I saw all of your replies, but while most of my retcons may have not been retcons, I am right on this one. And I can prove it. In the Q&A at the end of the volume, Toriyama himself answers a reader's comment by admitting that what he wrote retcons that early.
I don't know if we're going to get this right, so I'm just going to read it just in case. Just so I really like Oolong Tien Pua Ti. That also fucking the character's name. By the way, on page 18 of volume 1, Son Goku says to Bulma, I never saw another human before. Wasn't Goku's grandpa the guy who raised him human? Yashuri Kubu Nara Prefecture? I don't know what the fuck that is. That might be the guy that asked the question. Well, if you put it that way, yes. Oops, I made a mistake. Sorry, I apologize. Also very smart to realize that I got the name from the
earlier sentence.
Oh, this little
Goku.
cat that
Okay?
can turn into people, and then Master Roshi loses his horniness by being in a locked room with him as bunny girl Bulma, who was clearly not legal at the time that she was a bunny girl. But yeah, we'll not touch on questionable things, but yeah.
This is how he intended it to be written, and he concedes in that moment that it is in fact a retcon. And there's a similar story for this one of Raditz going to the afterlife following his death at Piccolo's hands. I know Kami speculates an explanation for why that happened, but the fact is, it was established by the narrative that people killed by demons cannot move into the afterlife, and then Raditz did anyway. Just because Toriyama works on explaining that retcon with Kami and then later with a Namekian retcon, that doesn't mean that the original change wasn't there. Okay.
Also, in fairness, would it not have also possibly been foreshadowing for the fact that Piccolo's going to like change a new leaf and change his character? Like so many, okay, I know like so many other Dragon Ball characters before, in fairness, fucking Yamcha, Tien, whatever, that were evil or antagonists and became not necessarily protagonist, but at least on the good side. Just like Vegeta after Piccolo as well. That could have also been seen as like a foreshadowing for the fact that Piccolo is going to change a new leaf and is going to become, you know, a good guy in the long term or the long run, or literally half an hour later.
We've done the training. It's time to tackle the retcon nightmare that is the modern Dragon Ball collection. Alright, let's kick things off with Jocko the Galactic Patrolman. Number 1. Tights might not necessarily be a retcon, but the fact Bulma and her family knows Jocko in addition to Tights possessing the ability to contact him certainly is. It makes the gang's concerns and struggles following the Saiyan arc to find a way to Namek utterly nonsensical.
Yeah, okay, that is a bit fucked. Especially it's implied she knows him from when she was a child.
Because why didn't they just contact Jocko? Even her dad knew him. Number 2. Goku arrives on Earth wearing Saiyan armor, apparently. That's it. That's the retcon. Number 3. According to Jocko...
I don't know what the original image of him arriving on Earth was.
Go on minus, planet Vegeta exploded in the year 739, which is not 737 as previously thought. And as a result, Goku's age gets weird. Number 4. On the topic of Dragon Ball Minus, Goku's origin is retconned completely, with it contradicting what Raditz outlined at the start of the Saiyan arc. He wasn't...
Oh yeah, it was a case of he was sent by his parents and they tried to save him, that whole bullshit story thing. Like, people are going to get upset when I say this, but whole Superman-esque kind of vibe, where mom and dad save you and put you on a shuttle and send you to a different planet, not he was sent to Earth to destroy it and take it over.
Sent to destroy it, but instead to escape the planet Vegeta's fate. Number 5. In Chapter 1 of Dragon Ball, the license plate on Bulma's car reads PF8801. However, the very same car seen in Jocko the Galactic Patrolman reads 01CC05. Number 6. In Chapter 113 of Dragon Ball Z, Bardock appears as a memory of Frieza's. However, his design is entirely different in Dragon Ball Minus, and if that isn't clear enough for you, it is also entirely different in Broly, where the exact moment Frieza is recalling is shown. Number 7. Frieza openly talks about Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan God to his underlings, which retcons what his underlings knew to begin with. In the Namek arc, both Zarbon and Dodoria are convinced he destroyed the planet to defend against the population rising up. There is nothing to do with a Super Saiyan, much less a Super Saiyan God.
I mean, in fairness, the planet rising up, if well, all... What's the right way to phrase this? If Frieza and the Ginyu Force and like Dodoria, Zarbon, whatever, his little army, were all so much stronger than the Saiyans in general, not saying that his whole army was stronger than them, but if his elites were stronger than them, they surely could have quelled an uprising and wouldn't have to be that scared of an uprising. But if he was scared of them rising up, it could still be seen as, oh, they could become Super Saiyan, and a Super Saiyan would rival my powers and be able to defeat me and all my men. Like, that makes sense. It could be part of the same plot. It could be part of the same reasoning. He didn't have to share maybe his fear of a Super Saiyan or Super Saiyan God.
And speaking of which, let's move into Battle of Gods. Number 8. Beerus, a god of destruction, is the new most powerful being in the universe, despite never being mentioned or alluded to by anyone that should have known, including Shin and Kinkai, who have apparently been dreading his return.
Oh yeah, that's fair enough. Everyone just knows who he is, but no one's ever spoken about him before. Or brought him up before.
Number 9. Beerus takes the blame for Planet Vegeta's destruction away from Frieza. How nice. Number 10.
That whole bullshit story thing.
Beerus drove the dinosaurs to extinction on Earth, which, I mean, it's a strange thing to throw in there because
they kinda still exist, and we've seen them multiple times.
There are tons of dinosaurs on Earth, and there's even one in this film. Number 11. This one...
I never actually noticed that in the movie. Well done.
Doesn't come from Battle of Gods, but it is mentioned. In Son Goku and his friends return, an OVA that took place a little bit earlier than this in the timeline, Vegeta is retconned to having a younger...
Yeah, also, where the fuck did that come from and that he magically survives because it was never, ever brought up?
...living brother, despite Raditz specifically confirming that only he, Nappa, Vegeta, and Goku remained following the planet's destruction. Number 12. Actually, you know what? Wait.
And the amount of times they said that they were the last remaining Saiyans.
Before I get to that, this one is...
Oh, as in Goku and Vegeta.
isn't actually a retcon, but it is one that people get wrong quite a lot, so let's talk about it. So once it's revealed that Beerus trapped old Kai inside the Z-Sword, people got all up in arms about it, complaining that it was actually a witch that did that and it was an inconsistent retcon, blah blah blah. However, if you cast your minds back in chapter 285 of Dragon Ball Z, old Kai simply says that a, quote, terrible guy, end quote, almost as terrible as Boo, sealed him away in the Z-Sword.
Almost as terrible as Boo. That almost is very, very questionable.
Which is totally fine and not at all a retcon. In actuality, this is something that people get confused. It was a witch that made old Kai look old. She didn't trap him in a sword. But yeah, anyways, not a retcon, so
Okay, fair enough.
let's jump on to Yo Son Goku and his friends return. Alright, so I know I said I wasn't going to do specials and old movies, but this is a new special, and more importantly, this one is canon to the story, so leave me alone. Plus, there's only 2 of them here. So
And because he wants to, because he
Number
can.
12. At the end of the Buu arc, a wish was made on the Dragon Balls for humanity to forget Majin Buu, but to recall that Satan saved the world from something. However, in this canon special, the public explicitly shout out that Satan defeated Majin Buu. Number 13.
Well, that could have been the something they remembered him defeating. They don't have to remember the entity.
So in this film, we see Goten and Trunks fail the fusion dance the first time and then immediately reset. This could very easily be a mistake, but it's very difficult to believe that Avocado waited for Gotenks, and moreover, if this was my first time watching this, I would have thought they retconned the timeout of the fusion dance entirely. But yeah, that's the special. Time for Resurrection
Well, knowing Dragon Ball, actually wouldn't be surprised if he did wait half an hour to fight them in their strongest form.
F. Number 14. Frieza got to keep his body in the afterlife, and Hell gets reinvented. Number 15. Shenlong gives
Oh yeah, fuck, I forgot that the whole Hiffle nonsense. Okay, wait, it was fucking completely different world, and it was clouds, if I remember correctly, that like everyone was.
peel off 2 wishes instead of the usual 3 Shenlong is capable of granting, for some reason. Number 16. Despite Shenlong having demonstrated that he could bring back Cell's victims in the lead up to the Cell games without concern for their body's condition, he is suddenly unable to bring back Frieza to life because of his body's condition. Number 17.
Well, in fairness, I think it was also quite I know, well, fuck, I was going to say it's quite badly vaporized, but people blown to fucking smithereens, probably even worse, from Cell.
In addition to Lord Beerus, Frieza and King Cold were...
Maybe it was because it was half mech at that point, so it's like, oh, how do I put it? And we all know Shenron, whatever the fuck, doesn't have a good history with machines, seeing as he couldn't do anything for the androids.
also aware of Majin Buu, despite the fact that within chapter 115 of Dragon Ball Z, Frieza claims that he didn't think anyone else in the universe surpassed Captain Ginyu. Okay, Universe 6 tournament time.
Huh?
Number 18. In Dragon Ball Z Chapter 71, Guru claims that the Dragon Clan are the ones who created the Dragon Balls. However, in Dragon Ball Super, the Super Dragon Balls are the original Dragon Balls that the Namekians, refined? Chipped away, I don't know. They got them from those big bad boys and, yeah, changes, it's a retcon, blah, blah, blah. Number 19. Zuno exists and
Yeah, I don't
can
know
answer
about that
every
one.
single question ever, which would have come in handy for Beerus to find an answer to his
Super Saiyan God problem that was just never ever brought up, so we had to ask a magical fucking dragon.
Super Saiyan God question instead of searching the cosmos for Saiyans to interrogate almost at random. Number 20. Shenlong cannot tell Bulma and Beerus where the last Super Dragon Ball is. He says, and I quote, "Finding a single thing in the vast universe is not within my powers." End quote. Again, this is another limitation. Number 21. The Saiyans' original homeworld was not planet Vegeta, but planet Sadala. Number 22. Trunks' hair changes color.
Isn't that actually alluded to, though? Or am I just now remembering the news shit and thinking, oh, it's always been a different planet that they moved to?
From lavender to teal canonically. Prior to seeing Trunks again since the Cell arc, Bulma describes him as, quote, a young man with blue hair. She has only ever seen him with purple hair in the manga and the anime. Number 23. Despite just about requiring everyone's collective power on Earth plus Frieza during Resurrection F to secure a clear signal, Kid Trunks powering up to Super Saiyan is now enough for Goku to lock onto and teleport from Beerus' planet all the way to Earth. Number 24.
You got good at it.
In episode 50, we're told that Supreme Kais have access to, quote, time rings, and thus can move freely forwards through time, with it technically being possible to go back in time also. However, that's sort of frowned upon. Apparently, this has always been the case, and would have come in pretty handy locating Majin Buu or aiding Supreme Kai in gathering information for that effort. Number 24.
It would have made it too easy. Or maybe just like, it's always spoken that they're not supposed to use them. So maybe like yes, the world's in dire need, blah 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 blah, but kind of like if it's its time kind of thing. And then it's like forbidden power, they can't use the rings.
In Dragon Ball Super episode 56, Yajirobe reveals that he survived the android's attack. Trunks didn't even know this. Number 26, in episode...
That's not really a retcon if Trunks didn't know.
60 of Dragon Ball Super, Goku reveals that he and Chi-Chi have never kissed. Now, okay, that might not really be a retcon, but it definitely reshapes how I thought their relationship worked. Number 26.
There's so many questions about what happens in their bedroom, and every fucking Rule 34 thing is clearly very wrong.
7. I was going to say that...
Or very right, in fairness.
Trunks using the Mafaba without any risk or drain to himself was a retcon considering the use of it killed Master Mutaito and Roshi respectively. But then I remembered that Piccolo and Kami used it during the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai with no drain on them at all. So was that a retcon back in Dragon Ball that I missed? Number 28.
And it almost fucks him in the Tournament of Power as well when he tries to use it for a second time.
Dragon Ball Super episode 63, Vegeta destroys the Room of Spirit and Time from within and appears as if it was simply a room within the lookout itself, not another dimension. Number 29, the Patara earrings...
Or if he broke that... walls of that dimension would have had to have some kind of structures. If you imagine it's a sphere or whatever shape it is, his body doesn't... Even though you're in another dimension, when that dimension is broken, destroyed, or cracked, which was supposed to the whole thing of like when Boo broke through the wall, if I remember correctly, it broke like the Room of Spirit and Time. So if he broke the dimension he was in, he would have to reappear somewhere in the real world or the current dimension, and that could have possibly just been in the lookout, and the effect of him powering up or not turning off his power quick enough would have destroyed some part of where he reappeared. Rematerialized?
Fusion is permanent only for Kais and lasts 1 hour for mortals now. Despite initially...
Yeah, that was a fucking... I don't know, they just made them whatever the fuck they want now.
Being described as an item that will keep two beings together forever, this kinda contradicts Boo's internal gas explanation during the Boo saga, though that was originally presented as speculation. Number 30, the amount of power expressed drains the time remaining in the Patara fusion.
The whole Patara, I just feel like is a fucking whatever works at that point in time in the story is just how they work. They'll allow us to fuse, and then whatever we need to happen, whatever we don't need to happen, happens.
Number 31. In Dragon Ball Z Chapter 324, Bulma says that she hardly ever sees Goku and that she hasn't seen him in 5 years. The Tournament of Power, however, takes place 4 years prior to the events Bulma makes this claim in Chapter 322 of Dragon Ball Z.
Also, bitch look old. Just saying.
So that doesn't make sense anymore. Number 32. While we're talking about End of Z, in Chapter 325, Goku explains that he's been waiting to meet Oob so that he can train him and have a good fight. The way he expresses this insinuates that he's not been excited by a challenge for a very long time. Piccolo even expresses as much. However, all through Dragon Ball Super, Goku has...
Yeah, that's kind of a big fuck up. They could have just easily transitioned the timelines there and made this a couple of years after that. Then I guess they would have to deal with the whole Oob thing, which they haven't found Oob yet.
Has encountered astronomically more powerful foes than that which Boo could ever hope to challenge. He's the reincarnation of Boo, yes, but Goku has Beerus and Whis and Jiren and Broly, and the list honestly can go on forever.
And like 5 more different forms since fucking the Boo saga.
With Super, this interaction makes little to no sense now. Number 33. Goku having access to Super Saiyan God without ritual or time limit contradicts what was established in Battle of Gods. He has access to God Ki, yes, not the ritual transformation. You could try to make the argument that Goku accessed that form from before via the ritual, but Vegeta has never undergone that ritual and had access to it during Broly at will. Number 34.
Yeah, that whole ritual versus Super Saiyan God versus like debate thing is kind of very tenuous. I suppose it's also a case of Vegeta can fucking do whatever he wants because he needs to somehow catch up.
Tingly back feeling as an
Yo, what was this bullshit of how you go Super Saiyan? Oh, you find some tingles on your back and you, I don't know, squeeze really hard like you're doing a deadlift and then you fucking become a Super Saiyan. I've tried squeezing really hard when I do deadlifts and tingling in my back. Never fucking worked, I'm just saying.
explanation for how to achieve Super Saiyan. There's precedent for how Super Saiyan is achieved both in Dragon Ball Z's original manga through Goku's training of Gohan and in Super with Vegeta's training of Kaba during the Universe 6 tournament arc. Number 35. In the beginning of Dragon Ball Z, Roshi explains that he'll just get in the way if he continues trying to fight alongside Goku.
And then he fights alongside Goku.
However, his inclusion in the Tournament of Power flies in the face of this claim. They argue that his skills and strategy may help, but still chooses him over several much stronger alternatives. What happened to not getting in the way?
In fairness, what were the stronger alternatives? Because also there was a time crunch. So there's fucking Yamcha, who in fairness, probably somewhat could be on par in terms of raw power, strength, or even ahead of in terms of raw power, strength than Roshi, but he don't do cool shit. Also, I don't know if he is stronger than Roshi. And I don't really know who else they could have picked in that short amount of time. That they they gave an excuse for not using Goten and Trunks. So they were kind of left with no one really. I mean, it's what fucking Chatsu and Yamcha.
Roshi, huh? Answer me. Number 36. Dragon Ball Super Broly retcons the character Broly and Paragus into being additional Saiyans.
Oh yeah, that's. What do you mean additional Saiyans?
Planet Vegeta's.
One thing. Okay, this is. I never watched the original movies apart from the fucking DBZ abridged versions. But were they not survivors in the original movies as well? Yeah, I know it means. Well, they kind of, this whole thing is they snuck off and whatever, and I can't remember the original story of what they did there. That kind of makes sense.
Number 37. It's demonstrated that the legend of the Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan God was known by Frieza, his henchmen, and common Saiyans alike. For Frieza to only reference the Super Saiyan and not the Super Saiyan God ever seems rather fishy, and furthermore, given that
Yeah, that one is fair, I guess.
Vegeta was effectively raised alongside Raditz with other adult Saiyans like Nappa and Co., it's also strange that he heard about the Super Saiyan but not the God variant. Number 38. In
That one definitely I'll give him.
Dragon Ball Z Chapter 102, Frieza says,
also, I'm not necessarily disagreeing.
and I quote, "When I attacked the Saiyan planet and fought the king, I won without the need to transform. Your father didn't take long to dispatch." End quote. In Dragon Ball Super Broly, no such fight between Frieza and King Vegeta takes place. He simply wipes out the race with a single attack.
I think that's in most, like flashbacks of the scene. He just kind of does exactly what he did here, even in the older flashbacks from other movies or other series.
Number 39. Shenlong only granted one wish to Chilai and Lemo. Number 40. Gohan didn't catch the sensu bean because it's hard for him to see without glasses. Number 41.
But then proceeds to never ever use glasses in any fight ever.
Han is seen flying around quite a few times in Dragon Ball Super as a baby. However, her story in Superhero is learning how to fly. Number 42.
Yeah.
Vegeta's
Well, in fairness, okay, I've never had a baby, so I don't know how kids work, but maybe it's like a thing of, oh, she did it without trying or without realizing what she was doing. It kind of just happened. Like your first boner. You don't know what's happening. You don't know what's going on. It kind of just happens and you don't understand how to get one. And then only after that you learn how to actually get a boner when you want a boner. That's the metaphor we're going with, and that's the metaphor we're using.
meditation training. Goku has done this sort of training in the past. However, in Superhero, he acts as though he has never seen or heard of such a method. Number 43. Vegeta says that Jiren wasn't much stronger than either of them. That the real difference came in how efficient he was with his movements and power. Number 44.
I find that kind of hard to believe. Pretty sure he was just fucking stronger than them.
Piccolo asked Dende to unlock his power the same way Guru did for Krillin and Gohan because Dende is the same type of Namekian that Guru was. But there's a bit of a hiccup. Dende says that he's not old enough to do that, so he suggests to
You have to be past a certain age to want to touch boys and unlock their potential.
Piccolo that he can use the Dragon Balls to gain that power up. However, in doing so, Shenlong would technically be performing a wish that is outside the power of his creator. This would be a retcon on its own, but that's not where this ends. According to Dende, he can, quote, upgrade the Dragon Balls to grant them that ability. And that upgrade is simply him pouring water over the statue of
I mean, what is life?
Shenlong. Excuse me, what?
That is actually some big bullshit, but hey.
Number 45. When granting Piccolo's first wish, Shenlong threw in a little extra. A new transformation.
Oh yeah, also since when does Shenlong just throw in extra for free?
We had seen Purunga throw in something extra when he repaired Krillin's body for free, but Shenlong doing this is totally new. Number 46. Bulma wishes to have the ass of a young girl and to have her eyelashes extended. It is also suggested after the wishes are made that she has made wishes like these before.
I mean, that explains a lot, just saying. Reason chicks likes to look hot and be the fucking eye candy in Dragon Ball Z in her, what, 50s? I think she's, I don't know, I'm guessing.
In chapter 324 of Dragon Ball Z, it suggested that she hasn't used the Dragon Balls 4 cosmetic enhancements to make herself look younger yet. Okay, I'm gonna try to list off a few retcons.
Well, I mean, you don't want to admit it. You're not going to tell someone I got plastic surgery unless you go from fucking A's to double D's and then maybe out of options.
From Dragon Ball Daima now, but keep in mind that the series
I mean, if it's still explainable or still within the thing of you can hide it, you're definitely going to try hard it.
has not yet completed as of the making of this video, so these are subject to change. Number 47. Half Saiyans go through a growth spurt suddenly at 15, which contradicts Gohan's gradual growth over time.
Yeah, just magically, hey, they went through the fucking Goku transformation of I'm a little 2-foot kid to I'm a massive adult all of a sudden.
I'm in Dragon Ball Z. Number 48. The Namekians are originally from the Demon Realm, which is hilarious because that makes this sort of an Uno reverse retcon. Number 49. The number of wishes Shenlong offers you out of 3 is determined by how familiar he is with you, which retroactively explains why Pilaf and Sorbet only got 2 wishes in Resurrection F and why Chile only got 1 in Dragon Ball Super Broly.
That seems like some bullshit reasoning, though.
Number 50. The method through which the Supreme Kai and Kibito split has been changed from the Dragon Balls to Majin Buu again, which brings us to the end of Super. But I did notice some extra retcons along the way for Dragon Ball Z, so here are some bonus retcons. Number 51. In Dragon Ball Z, Kami says that the dragon can group revive people killed by a shared circumstance. But when it comes to reviving people brought back who were killed by individuals, that is limited to within a calendar year, which is another limitation on the Dragon Balls. Number 52. The balls can
Literally, there's just so many limitations that were never there, and we're just like, oh, it makes sense why that works like that now.
not bring back to life someone who has died from natural causes, no matter what. Number 53. In
I feel like there must have been somewhere that happened.
chapter 129, Guru is
Also, what counts as natural causes is my thing. I'm assuming it means literally like fucking death and like disease. But what if the disease was man-made? Like, how do they, is like natural causes like I had a heart attack or like I had fucking cancer. But what if you caught like an infection? Or what if you got tetanus from a piece of metal? Huh? Is that is that technically enough to come back? It's not natural causes? Because metal's not well, metal is natural, but it's not necessarily natural. Like, I feel like it's a very iffy stipulation that you can kind of just be like, oh, it was natural causes, he's dead now, we can't bring him back. And like, oh, that wasn't natural causes because he got this weird sickness from someone, now he can come back to life.
contacted by King Kai, but then Guru communicates telepathically with Dende. Guru is established to not be able to relay information via telepathy as he needs Nail to deliver a message earlier in the story.
Or he could just be lazy.
Therefore, Kaio is facilitating this communication. However, it has also been established that Kaio needs to be in contact with you in order for you to connect with someone else. Number 54. In chapter 109 of Dragon Ball Z, Vegeta says that coming back from the brink of death won't work if he does it to himself, rather than the original claim of Saiyans always coming back.
But then, isn't that the whole thing of Goku shooting fucking Kamehamehas at himself in the ship going to Namek and then healing him? And like, that was one of the things of, oh, he must have pushed himself to the brink of death and then used his senzu being an eye stronger because of it.
Brink of death stronger. Number 55. In Dragon Ball Z Chapter 200, Shenlong can restore the people killed by Cell, despite their bodies not being intact, contradicting a previously established rule. Whew, and so we finally arrive at the end of this long, tediously painful journey. Did I basically read and watch through all of Dragon Ball for this video? Yes. Did it?
Well, I mean, like, I don't know if that's so much of a punishment. I'll forgive him. I mean, I wouldn't mind doing that for my job. I don't know if my boss would be very impressed if I decided, hey, Sorry, I have to watch through all of Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, Daima, and all the movies, and read all the manga again, but this is my job, I promise. Don't think I would still get paid at the end of the month, just saying.
Bring me to the brink of my sanity this time? Absolutely. And I won't be getting a Zenkai boost for that. But the good...
Well, I mean, it's because he did it to himself, that's why only. If someone else forced him to do it, then he would have gotten a Zenkai boost. So I feel like that's on him. He should have made his producer force him to do it, which I don't even know if he has a producer. I would assume he doesn't. He probably just has an editor. But in future, make someone force you to do it. Then it makes you stronger.
News is, I think
Things
both
we've
myself
learned.
and anyone that made it this far into the video should come out with perhaps a better understanding of retcons as a literary device. They really are a tricky thing to dissect, especially with a writing style like Akira
But
Toriyama's.
don't necessarily know if I'd agree with that.
Special bonus for anyone who is still watching, if anyone is curious, as part of the reviewing process and fixing of the retcon list from the prior video, I pulled my writer Tyson off of his other project, sat down with him, and had him review every single retcon I outlined in the previous video with me one by one until we sorted things out. And wouldn't you know,
What he was saying is Tyson, because he was forced to it, he got a Zenkai boost. And I is stronger than Totally Not Mark. They're waiting for the Tyson arc now.
we had the foresight to record the entire thing. So if that sounds interesting to you, we have uploaded that entire retcon review debate session over on my second channel. You can find the link.
That actually sounds pretty cool. I definitely actually think I'm going to go download and listen to those. As sad as that sounds, I am so fucking in.
For that popping up in the corner right now or in the video description down below. But for now, I think I am going to go outside and touch some grass because it is much needed.
Nah, grass is overrated. Also, I have no idea why I just say grass instead of grass, and like fucking all of a sudden I have a weird accent.
2 weeks straight locked into my office flipping through pages has altered my brain chemistry, so I am going to go fix that right now.
Yeah, I think you drastically need to rethink your...
Now, if you enjoyed this video at all, be sure to leave a like, and please subscribe if you want to see more content like this down below, or if you are so inclined, please consider supporting me and my team on Patreon. Until next time, I've been Totally Not Mark, and thank you all so much for watching.
I think this is just his... list of Patreon subscribers. I was just going to mute it and talk over it, but I'm not sure... Oh, it's like 6 seconds. So I'll leave that up while we finish. Fucking good video, like always. Dragon Ball Z, the ultimate filler review. Okay, this is fucking getting added. I did not know he had done this. Fuck, it's a long video. Okay, that we're gonna have to commit to one day. I'm just gonna add that to watch later. That is not the right. I was right clicking. What was I saying? Yes, first of all, great fucking video. Totally Not Mark, always great. I will link his original video down in the description below. Please give him some love, like the video, subscribe. Fucking great creator. And also in this video, I was kind of being a dick. I kind of, for the sake of content, I was playing devil's advocate. A lot of the shit, I kind of agree with what he's saying, and I think he did an amazing fucking job. No one can take it away from him and his team. But yeah, dope video. We'll link it down in the description below. And please give it some love.